When signing an important document, what are you required to sign? When signing a check, what do you have to put on it before you can deposit it that makes it unique to you? What is one major thing that our parents were taught in school that most schools no longer teach to their students? What font are old written documents commonly wrote in? I went to public school until 6th grade, and I was never taught this in public school. Once my family decided to begin homeschooling, this is when we were introduced to cursive. Now at this point, I could understand cursive pretty well and write it a little bit, but this was from a personal want and desire to learn cursive. My siblings, on the other hand, they couldn't write it or read it at all. My mom gave us all our own individual cursive curriculums that fit best with how we learn. This is cursive. Although it may look more difficult, it's actually considered easier than print handwriting because you don't have to pick your pencil up over and over again. It's just one swoop from letter to letter. Many kids today are still unfamiliar with cursive. Most schools are no longer required to teach it at the students' expenses. According to the website titled PR Web, last updated on April 29, 2013, 41 of the 50 states are no longer required to teach cursive in school. Teaching cursive in school has been proven to have many different advantages. The first advantage is that it gets them prepared for the future. The next advantage is it improves motor skills and neural connections. Finally, it has also been proven to help some students with certain learning disabilities. Now that we know the different advantages, let's move on and look at them individually and more in depth. First, let's take a look at how learning cursive in school prepares the students for the future. Cursive is commonly used in the everyday life of adults. Whenever they need to sign a check or an important document, they need to sign it using their signature. Your signature is just your name written in cursive. You also need to sign your signature when signing for your license or permit or an important document like a house or a rent or a payment plan. It also prepares you for the chance of if you see an old document. Most old documents are written in cursive. Most elderly people today still write in cursive. For example, my grandmother, whenever she sends us any kind of card, whether it be birthday card or Christmas card, it's always written in cursive no matter what it is. I also asked my parents how often they would say they use cursive. They both stated that they use it every day and that they both learned it in school. Now that we've covered how it prepares them for the future, let's move on to the next advantage. The next advantage of learning cursive is it improves their motor skills and neural connections. This is just a little note that I thought went great with this. It states, "Dear keyboarding, you may be more popular than I, but your words are soon forgotten. When students use me to write, they remember information better and longer. I engage their brains in ways that you can only dream of, so don't write me off so easily." Pun intended. Still standing, cursive writing. According to Iris Hatfield in her article Top 10 Reasons to Learn Cursive, cursive handwriting stimulates the brain in ways that typing cannot. It improves the dynamic interplay of left and right cerebral hemispheres and helps build neural pathways and increase mental effectiveness. According to her article, pictures of a brain were taken when someone was writing cursive, and they saw massive activity in the thinking, language, auditory, and working memory portions of the brain. This helped me to realize why I always learn things better when I write them down. I've noticed that I remember my work much better if I write it down rather than type it to take notes. Cursive handwriting also develops sensory skills as stated on a website titled Memoria Press, last updated on January 6, 2018. Through the repetition of writing each letter, you begin to become aware of the angle that you need to have your pencil at and how much pressure you need to apply to the paper. This also helps the motor planning to form each letter and position it from left to right. This helps to build basic motor functions. A basic motor function would be described as buttoning your shirt, tying your shoe, or even just reading. Now that we understand the basic neurological connections and motor skill improvements, let's move on to the next advantage. The next advantage would be that learning cursive in school has been proven to help some students with certain learning disabilities. this is an image I thought described dyslexia very well, and this says, this is a sentence written by a person with dysgraphia. If you weren't aware, dyslexia is formed by a disconnection in the thinking and auditory portions of the brain. Writing in cursive has been proven to help these two portions of the brain connect better, as stated earlier. The connected letters and fluid motions of writing cursive has been proven to help students with dysgraphia. This shows that teaching cursive in school would not only be teaching them something new, it would be helping them learn better and do better in their other classes as well. Let's review now that we've covered all of the different advantages about cursive being taught in schools. Teaching cursive in school has many different advantages for the students. The first advantage is that it would get them prepared for the future. The next advantage is that it improves motor skills and neural connections. Finally, it has been proven to help students with certain learning disabilities. It is because of these reasons that I think cursive should be brought back to the schools. If it weren't for cursive being taught in schools, people may not have been able to read old documents written back then. Together, we can bring cursive back to the schools.